New Landing's Job Chat is brought to you in part by the Prosperity Advisory Group, the next step in your financial future, and by the EBS Group with an unparalleled background in Oracle solutions and services.
Hopefully, we all have a profile somewhere in a media site. However, how can we make it stand out? That is the topic of today's Job Chat. My name is Hector Silva, and with me is Don Apple.
Hector, this profile, making it stand out is so important, and our guest today is going to help us make that profile stand out.
Well, our guest today has been with us before, and it's Bethany Spilde.
And as a trainer, Bethany works with businesses as diverse as small chiropractic offices to multi-million-dollar companies. Though the consulting expertise she offers is different, of course, for each client, she consistently brings her passion for marketing and love of teaching to each endeavor. Praised as an engaging, practical, and inspiring teacher, Bethany has an uncanny ability to take the sometimes daunting subject of social media and translate it to no-nonsense, usable knowledge that positively impacts each client's bottom line. Bethany, welcome back.
Thank you, guys. I'm glad to be back.
Thank you for being here again. Let me just ask a broad question to begin with. How important is a profile?
A profile on LinkedIn is very important, especially for the job seeker, well, any business professional, because that's where Google picks up your name on LinkedIn and you'll be at the top. That's one place. And from the job seeker point of view, you want to be found. And so very valid. And then the networking opportunities that are available on LinkedIn, because you're networking with the right audience. And then how you can search for different job opportunities within LinkedIn. And you can find the actual job that's available and who you might know at that company. So it's just bringing more of a personal approach to the whole social media realm.
Okay.
I know you've told us that there are about 10 and a half or somewhere in there, key points that you need to know about your profile. Where would we begin? What would be the number one key point?
Well, it's definitely content. I want you to understand that content is king on LinkedIn as far as on your profile goes. Thinking about those keywords of how you would want somebody searching for you for a job. What were those keywords? How do you want them to find you? Mm-hmm. Is it as a program developer? Is it radio show host? What is that? And trying to weave that key phrase or word throughout your profile. And so that's the content side of it. And it's your words that's creating your whole image on your LinkedIn profile. And it's not a resume per se. You want to use marketing language. You want to be talking to the reader about, this is what I plan on doing. This is my background, and just putting it out there. And then we'll go through each of the sections. And I know you're probably not sitting at a computer right now. So if you're in the car or anywhere else at the gym listening to this, there is a booklet that you can email me for, and I'm happy to send that to you. So you don't have to worry about writing down notes, and then you can get back to your computer and go through this process.
So Bethany, what I hear you saying is, in your industry or in the type of job that you're looking for, what are some of the key words that they look for? Keywords that they use in job profiles, or anything that industry only has in their language. These are the words you want to use? Yes.
So if... let's see, I'm trying to think of an example. So if there's a web designer out there and maybe she does, a lot of freelance work right now, and she's looking for a position within a company, the recruiter or whoever that person is that's finding that person, looking for the applicant, can just go out there and type in that phrase, I'm looking for a web designer, and then that will come up. So that's why it's important to have, those keywords in your profile so then you can get found. So then you come up higher, and whoever that person is that's searching for that applicant, they can find you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes,
Without
indeed it
having the
does.
computer in front of us and showing you what I'm talking about.
Sure.
What other type of content is there in that profile that's important?
The first section within your profile is the heading. And that's a key component because that's the first thing people see in the search result, or even if it's a status update or in a group, they can put their mouse over your name and then a little heading comes up and it'll have your picture, which is very important to have. You get 5% for your profile to have that on there. So put that little check mark in there. And you want a professional image. You don't want one of those pictures where you've cropped yourself out of a group picture and there's fingers in there and blonde hair when you have brown hair. Yeah. So get a professional image. And then your heading, once again, get that keyword in there, or your phrase of what you're looking for. And I even put my email address right up in there. So then all that information is in the headline.
Oh, okay.
As part of the content, some people are leery about putting their age in there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that really something that they should or shouldn't do?
You know, that's an interesting question, and I hear that a lot. And I would say either way, you can leave off the year or you can put it on there. I say be confident with your age. You know, that I know people think that they're going to be judged for it and maybe miss out on opportunities, but the truth always comes out. And just the fact that you're on these networks is more key. It doesn't matter your age. You're obviously somebody that's always going to learn because you're here, you're using the technology, your profile is standing out because you went through this list, and you're set apart. And the wisdom that comes with that as well. And they can see it on your LinkedIn profile too. They can see what your age would be based on when you graduated from college, and so why not just be upfront?
It wouldn't take long to figure it out.
Yes. Yes.
So your age not only says how old you are, but it also connotates that you have experience behind you.
Correct.
So not only do you have experience behind you, but you are knowledgeable enough to know that the social medias are the things that are used in today's world. So they really do say a lot of good things about you.
Right. Exactly. So focus on those positives and just embrace your age.
Getting back to the profile, how often do you update that profile?
Actually, you wouldn't have to update your profile too often because it's who you are, it's your background, it's all on there.
So it's not an advantage to, say, once a month, have that pop up with profile update?
You wouldn't have to. If you have an honor award or something you want to put in there, if you want to change the websites that you have listed, which we'll get to, you can do that. But it's the status update that you'd want to do, I would say at least once a day, just so you stay top of mind. Some of the things that you can post would be maybe an article that you're reading within your industry that you're hoping to get a job in. Because then it's just you're staying relevant and it's showing that this is what I read, this is the value that I provide to my network.
So you don't have to sit down and write an article.
No,
all
you
you're
wouldn't
doing
have
is
to.
taking something that you have read and then sharing it.
Correct. And if you want to share what events you're going to or what involvement you're doing, there's new sections on LinkedIn that you can add your volunteer work and your skills. And so if you're updating those things, you're saying, I'm going to go ahead to whatever it is and volunteer. I love working with kids, especially if you're looking for a job in that industry. So just shows that you're active and you're not sitting at home eating bonbons
Right,
and
that
watching
you-
Oprah.
You don't want to show just that you have put down that you volunteer, but you want to actually demonstrate that you have volunteered.
Exactly,
So-
that you're active.
So you're looking for anything that's going to differentiate you. Okay.
We were talking about how you make your profile stand out, so keeping it current would be one way. What are some of the other ways?
Another section would be the website section, and you get an option to list 3. And in that, when you go in there to edit those, it could be maybe to your Facebook or your blog or a YouTube channel if you do videos, a white paper that you were featured in, anything like that, a podcasting show that you do, any of those.
There's
there
a
you go. And what I recommend in that section is to use a little drop-down menu bar and go to other, because then that gives you another column and you get more keywords in there because you can describe what that website is.
Well, that's a lot of detail. How about the summary?
The summary section, that would be the next section down. And you get, I believe, 2,000 characters to write, your background, what your goals are, any aspirations that you have. And just it's you talking to your reader.
Now, if memory serves, this is the section below your photo, your picture.
Yep, it's the
I'm
section.
just trying to visualize this as we go, Bethany. So, okay, and this would be very important to be not only concise, but it's going to have to be very personal to make you stand out. Is that what we're going for?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And it's, like you said, it's that section right, it's your heading, and then you have another little grayish color box with information, like your website, your connections, and different things. And then it's that first section underneath is summary. So then you just fill that in, and you can even, if you're not a writer, think about hiring a copywriter just to get a solid profile written for you, your bio.
It is that important.
It's important. It's one of the first things that they read. And it's just, I'm saying to the people that don't like to write, because I hear that a lot. It's like, I don't know what to say. I don't have the words, which is another point. If you don't like the whole writing thing, you can get help on that. But if you're more of, I just want to talk, once I'm in front of someone, I can articulate how passionate I am about this industry. There's an application that you can do on LinkedIn where you hear video. Maybe it's like a video resume selling yourself. And then you can put that right in your LinkedIn profile.
Just embedded right into the profile?
And it's an application. You can put it in SlideShare, or I believe there's a Google one as well. And I'm going blank on that. But that's, once again, I can put that in the booklet. And
Oh, okay, sure.
and I can put some examples in there of people, because I don't know if they want me to call them out right now.
Okay, well, sure.
Well, whether you're doing it written or, as you said, in video format, there are certain things that you need to put in there to differentiate yourself, specialties that you may have that you think not many other people have. Where is the best place to put those?
Great question. The specialties section is still under that summary, and that's kind of deceiving for people because they're like, how do I get to this? But it's right when you click on edit summary, it's right at the bottom of that. There's a specialties section. And most of the time people start listing certain skills that they have or whatever it might be. And that's actually a place where you want to just list out all those keywords and just separate it by a comma, each phrase or word. And it even says it right in LinkedIn, but people miss it and they'll write sentences about what their specialties are. And they're missing out on a huge opportunity to get keywords in their profile. And you can just load it up with the keywords. So if it's web developer, they could say web developing, developer of web applications. They can use those keywords and just kind of mix them around.
Good idea.
That's a fantastic idea. Now, some people out there have been working for numbers of years, so they have quite a bit of experience. How much do you put in there so that you don't fill it all up with just past things that happened 20 years ago?
You know, that's an interesting point, and everybody's going to have their own perspective on this. I've heard people say put the last 3, but then if somebody you worked with, an old past colleague, is on LinkedIn, maybe that's the only way that you would connect, is if you did have that old position listed, because then LinkedIn automatically says people you may know, and they look at that employment, the place of employment, and connect people that have that in their profile too. So I think it's a benefit to list those. You wouldn't have to have that on display for the public profile. It's only for your connections. And I would say, come to a LinkedIn training or something to go through all those extra little details. But there's a way to do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
So
that
it's
would
a-
make a difference.
Don, she's actually asking us to think.
Well, yes.
It's not just plug things here and there. You have to make some decisions, and they have to be decisions that are things that you've learned or experienced or other people have experienced. So this is not something that you just do overnight. It really
Oh.
takes time to do it.
Let me explain that better. In the experience section, it's your past jobs. So it's going to be your job title, the company, and then there's a little area that you can write a descriptor about that position or whatever it is. And I do recommend doing that. So I would say something like your first sentence is about the company, what they did, and then what your role was at the company and how that job helps you today, like certain skills that you learned there, how you're using those today. So then you're building in more keywords. I know that's kind of a cool little strategy, but it's just a quick little paragraph, and it gives somebody an idea of what that job was.
Yeah. And I think the point I was trying to get across also is that this is important enough to really take your time to do.
Do it right.
Not just slap it in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's that first impression. So it's like showing up to a huge business professional meeting or awards banquet, and you're wearing your PJs. You don't want to just slap something on and yeah.
So the more you get in that, when we were talking about the experience, the education, then the broader your search is going to turn up. And I'm not saying that quite the way I mean it, but the more you get in there, the more people that can find you, the better chances you have at connections.
As far as the profile goes, you just want that to be solid,
Okay.
as far as have everything there, your past work experience, because then LinkedIn can plug you into other people that have worked at that company too.
Okay.
So there's a little connection there.
Okay.
How about education? Some people are a little leery about putting education if they haven't completed college or they've been doing this for years and they know how to do it, but they may not have the credentials that somebody else has. How do you make up for that?
In the education section, actually, you can list how many years you attended there. And there's, once again, like an extra notes section where you can mention what you participated in or whatever you wanted to. You wouldn't have to. And then also just any kind of seminar that you've attended, any kind of extra education. It doesn't have to be a university. Could it be like Sandler sales training, any of those type of things.
Any certification that you've received. So
That's education.
It's all anything you've learned formally.
Correct.
Okay.
You've got it.
Is there any other additional information?
There is a spot at the very bottom where you can put your information, so how they could contact you, your phone number, all that good stuff. Your address, if you want to share that. I usually don't personally. You can put your business address in the future. And then just a call to action. If you are looking for this, whatever this position is, a web designer, please feel free to contact me at this number, or check out my video resume and then whatever call to action you want that person to do.
And again, this could be set up to where it goes to the people you are connected to, or it could be set up to go to the world.
Yes, as far as your profile goes, you can change all of that in your settings. So you can decide if somebody you're not connected to or anyone that does a Google search and your name comes up, when they click on it, what do they see when they're not a connection? You could hide certain parts of your resume if you want.
Okay.
Correct.
So doing all this work and having it out there, does anybody really look at it?
Yes, people do look at your profile, especially recruiters, because like I had mentioned in one of I think it was the first show, recruiters are Googling names, and the top 28% of search engine results are social media sites. And even more important than all of that is 70% of those recruiters have said that they've turned down applicants by what they found online.
Whoa.
So, to have something positive and have your LinkedIn profile be the first thing that they see is very important.
So
And
it's
why
very
not?
important not to have anything negative in there. Because if
Exactly.
70% are just getting kicked out because of what's in there, something negative is definitely going to get you out.
And if it's not something negative, it's something like a sloppy profile, If they go to your LinkedIn and it's not 100% complete and there's certain things, bad grammar and and that's my final point, is have somebody look at your profile, when you're doing it. and just say, what do you see? Do you see any corrections that I need to make? Does this make sense, as a reader? So getting that extra couple eyes on it. Maybe even doing copy and paste and put it in a Word document so you can make sure your words are spelled correctly and then paste it in.
I heard you say 100%. So 100% of the profile needs to be done.
It's to your benefit to have it 100% complete. The final thing that you would need to do after going through this whole list of tips to stand out would be to have 3 recommendations. And those are with your connections online on LinkedIn. And those recommendations can come from peers, past bosses, clients that you've had, and just have them write a little paragraph about what it was like to work with you.
Okay, that sounds very simple. Can you expand on that just a bit more? Okay, how do you get someone to give you a recommendation? I mean, is it...
Actually, LinkedIn makes it very easy for you.
Oh, okay.
Yes, which is great.
Good.
So you need 3, and there's actually a little place on the profile that you can click and to receive a recommendation. So then you click on it, you choose who you want to send the message to, and the title will say, "Will you endorse me?" And then that's where I highly recommend personalizing everything. Don't use the default text that LinkedIn gives you, because that's robotic, and
sure.
And it's known by others.
Yes, there you go. And everybody knows that. So make it personal. Talk about maybe, hey, would you mind writing or endorsing me for LinkedIn? Remember that project that we worked on, just to help them.
So give them examples of what you were looking for.
Drop a little seed, because, being on the other end, when somebody asks you for a recommendation, you're happy to do it, but sometimes you're like, what do I write?
And then freeze.
Yeah. Yep.
And something that might have been very important to you might not have been that important to them unless you mentioned it, and all of a sudden they'll realize, oh, yeah, wait a minute, I do remember when we did that, and I do remember how influential or how important that person was in doing that task or getting that project completed.
Exactly.
Yeah, so just a little tweak of the mind.
Yep, you're spot on.
Okay. Call to action. I know that's something that you had as one of your keys. What do you mean by call to action?
Call to action, that's what I mean, like as far as just writing, if you are looking for a web designer or a web developer, please contact me at, and then put your phone number. If you need any additional information, please contact me at. So it's giving that recruiter or the reader of your profile the next action step if they want to get a hold of you.
Well, we have gotten some very, very good tips here, some key points from Bethany. And just besides going to LinkedIn and looking at her profile, Bethany, where else could they reach you?
That's a great starting point. Any of the social media sites you could connect with me on. My email address is just the letter B, at socialbuzzmedia.com. And I believe that it will be on the website as well if they want to download this. Very good.
And of course, speaking of the website, you can access all of our job chats on our website, and that's newlandingsjobchat.org. Just click on the Past Chats button.
And Bethany, thank you for being here, and for everyone else, as always, until we meet again, we wish you health, happiness, and success.